So you might see a lot of ingredients here, but actually there's a lot of the same ingredients. It looks complicated, but it shouldn't be, all right? So first of all, we're going to get our duck confit on the go. We've got our lovely duck legs here. Just going to trim some fat off, just a little bit here, because we need to render the fat to cook our confit with. Every time we prepare our duck fat, we put it into the fridge or the freezer, and then after maybe a week, when we've got enough, we will render it down to make the fat to cook our legs in. So with our confit, we're going to cure it first, okay? So we get our pestle and mortar. So we put it onto a cloth to stop it from moving around, okay? So into there, we're going to put our peppercorns, white and black peppercorns. And we're just going to give them a quick crush. So because we're marinating this and we're going to wash it off, we don't want to make it into a fine powder as the ground pepper. So that's our pepper there. So we're just going to quickly just slice our garlic. I've taken the stems out of the middle of the garlic. I do that with all our recipes because it's quite bitter. We're going to put some salt on the bottom and then some of our pepper. And onto this, I'm just going to lay the fat down like this. So that's our duck there. I want to get lots of flavour into the flesh here. So now I'm going to go with some garlic and then salt. You can cover everything so you can see. So basically, we're just going to dry this out, cure it, and this salt as well. It's good for seasoning later on as well in the dish. And our aromatics, which is the garlic, thyme, and the bay leaf.
Can you ever put too much salt on
Definitely, because this is going to be marinated overnight. It can get very salty, and also if you put too much on, it will dry out as well. And when you cook it, it'll be very dry.
What proportion per leg?
I've got 15 grams for 2 legs there. I'm also going to put some lovely fresh bay leaf on there as well. Finish with some pepper. So that's our duck leg now, ready to go. Now we're just going to cover them, put them in the fridge, leave them overnight. You won't see the salt anymore. You'll see the pepper and a change of colour in the duck. So now what we need to do is we need to rinse off the marinade. If we put it straight into the fat and then cook, it's going to be too salty again, okay? Just a gentle rinse, okay? So literally just through like that. I've got an oven preset at about just 100 degrees, okay? Nothing more than 100 degrees. Otherwise, the duck is going to overcook. And we have our duck fat, which is here. The fat goes in. We really need to completely cover the duck. If we don't cover the duck, it's going to dry out, okay? And we want to get all that fat in there.
Sorry, is that just duck fish?
So this is just duck fat. So what I trimmed off the legs, that is what that is, rendered down, okay? So it's all just pure fat. We get our duck legs now, then they go into the fat, like so. Okay, so our duck's going to go into our oven now.
How long does that stay in the oven?
So now that we're going to go in 100 degrees for about 2 to 3 hours. And when we check it, we will use a pair of tongs and we'll kind of look at the flesh. And if the flesh comes away from the bone, then you know it's ready.
Okay.
So now our duck has been in the oven and it's nicely cooked. So we now have our duck here. Here's one I made earlier. Now we need to make our mix, okay? We'll get a pan on, use a bit of oil, in with our shallots. When I cook onions or shallots, always put a little pinch of salt in, just to draw the sweetness out, okay? While the shallots are just sweating down, I'm going to quickly chop some oyster mushrooms. So we're just going to quickly just go one way. So always keeping an eye on our shallots while chopping at the same time. Okay, so now that's perfect. Put in the mushrooms. And again, just put a wee pinch of salt in there. And we're just going to move them around. I'm just going to put a small amount of butter into the mushrooms now as well. A bit of thyme. Now here's the vinegar, sherry vinegar. Duck is a fatty meat, so we need some vinegar to kind of balance that, okay? Otherwise it gets too rich. So we put a bit of vinegar in. We need the vinegar to completely reduce, okay? We just want a nice flavour of the vinegar and to take the strength away from it. So now we add our poultry jus. This is also as well, this is moisture as well for our duck, okay? So now we'll just leave that to settle down now. Just let it cool down. Now we're going to get the duck legs. We're just going to take the fat off. This fat's cooked, but we don't want to throw this away. We can use this as well. This can be scraped. Then we can kind of cook it on a flat tray in the oven so it gets nice and crispy. We'll take the meat off into our bowl. Just being careful, there's no bone in there, no sinews. We need to make sure that your hands are nice and clean, or you can wear gloves for this as well. So now we just need to break the leg up, okay? Into the duck, the mushrooms go. I need to get this nice and broken down. We're going to put some chopped parsley into it. We want the mixture to be cold, or not too hot for when we put the parsley in, because we want the parsley to stay vibrant, the nice fresh flavour, okay? So we just put our parsley in next. We are now going to make our little balls. So we just get the mix and we form small bowls, and then we're going to put them onto a plate, and then we're going to refrigerate them. When they're refrigerated, after 20 minutes, half an hour, we can go again and ball them again to smooth up the edges, just like magic. Here's some I made earlier. So here's our confit balls. So now you can see them. They've been in the fridge for a couple of hours. They're nice and firm, and so they're ready to rock. For the next part of this, we're going to panne our confit. So we're going to flour, egg, and breadcrumb them. So for this, I'd like a bit of help. Janice, if you could come and help me. Have you done this before? Yeah? Give it a go? Okay, so we're going to put it into our flour. Nice even coat of the flour needs to go on. Okay, and then into our egg mixture.
How do you stop getting the egg and the crumbs on your hands?
I'm going to use this fork.
Because I find that when I've done it, you get really gooey hands.
Yeah, that's it. That's what the fork's for. Into there. And then we're going to shake it around. There we go. And then onto this plate. Good with that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're now going to get the sauce on the go and our duck breast on the go as well. We've got our breast nicely scored. I'm just going to put a little bit of salt on the top. And then we're going to use our pepper. And then I'm going to go straight into a cold pan, okay? No oil, there's plenty of fat in the duck skin, okay? So it's going to go straight in. What we're looking to do is render the fat on the breast as well. So we want to get that nice and crispy. Again, some salt on top and some pepper. We're going to make our sauce now. A touch of oil into a pan. So we're going to put a bit of butter as well into the oil. The oil's going to stop the butter from burning, okay? Some shallots. Just going to quickly slice shallots. And also 1 clove of garlic, which we'll just lightly crush, okay, just to release the flavours. On the crush, we'll just have a look and we'll take our bitter stem away, okay? So they're going to go in. We don't want any colour on the shallots, very important. A little pinch of salt again. Just going to let these cook down for about a minute. So you see this fat, the fat coming off here? Mm-hmm. We're just going to keep taking the fat off. How are you getting on there?
Good.
I better check your work, I think. So I can still see a few little bits here.
Yeah, why does that happen?
Because you've not rolled it around in the egg much.
Enough?
Enough, yeah. So basically what we do now as well, to maybe get a crispier coat on, is to go again, but not with the flour.
Yeah.
So just go straight into the egg and into the breadcrumbs again, okay? That's going to give it a nice crispy outside. Our shallots are ready to go. So we're just going to put in some porcini powder, okay? Just a little dried mushroom. We've got bay leaf and thyme that's going to go into the sauce as well. The lovely smell, the aromas. Have a smell of that. Smell the mushrooms. Got some button mushrooms here. They're going in. And then some oyster mushrooms as well. Kind of equal quantities, okay? You can kind of see that the duck is starting to golden brown now, okay? We're still not ready yet though. We're still gonna keeping it on that side. So I've got some white wine here to go into the mushrooms. We need to reduce the wine. We're going to reduce it by at least half, okay? We want to get the alcohol out and the flavour into the mushrooms. I reckon you've done a great job.
Those looks all right, aren't they?
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Our wine is now reduced by half. So into the wine, we're going to put some chicken stock. I've also going to put a pinch of lecithin in, okay? Soy lecithin, which is protein. This is going to help stabilise the sauce, okay? So into there as well, we've got some dried mushrooms, which we soaked in some hot water. Again, these are dried set mushrooms, porcini. Okay, so now I'm going to get these ducks and turn them over. And again, we just take the fat off. I'm quite happy with these now. I'm going to take these ducks and take them out to rest.
How long would you recommend resting the duck breast for?
Double the amount of time you cooked it for.
So if you cook it for 10 minutes, you're then going to rest it for 20.
I personally would, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. We're resting them like we do now, but they're always going to be kept warm. When we reheat them, they don't take much longer in the oven, even if they need to see the oven again. We want it so relaxed. Cream goes into our sauce. When that comes up, we want to leave it for maybe 10, 15 minutes, just on a low simmer. We just want to finish it with some more butter. I'm just going to whisk it up. The next stage is to get our garnish ready. Okay, so we've got some lovely new seasoned asparagus. Again, mushrooms at a dish. We've got some leaf spinach and some pea tendrils. going to slice our mushrooms. Nice pieces. Asparagus, we just pre-blanched. These are lovely asparagus here. I've not even trimmed them or peeled them. A lot of chefs, a lot of people kind of peel their asparagus, but when they're nice new season and young like this, just leave them as they are. Okay, now we're just going to strain our sauce, like so. And so there, all the mushrooms which we're going to keep and make our puree with, okay? As a contrast, I've got some of our poultry jus, okay? We're going to put that into a pan. So we're going to have two sauces on the dish. Kind of a creamy, light foam and a meaty sauce, okay? So you've got, two sauces that you taste and they'll be on your palate in different parts, okay? Now we're going to cook our confit. So we're going to take it to the fryer. So the balls go in. So a bit of oil here now. I'm just going to put our mushrooms. Again, little piece of butter, some salt. I like to put a little bit of lemon just to freshen them up. Because, we've got lots of cream, we've got a rich sauce, we've got the richness of the duck. So we're just going to lighten up the vegetables, okay? Mushrooms as well, you can kind of treat like meat, We can kind of cook them, we can put them to the side and let them rest. They're going to do no harm there. Then into our same pan, I'm going to put some more butter. And then we're just going to wilt our spinach. If you see the butter getting a bit too brown, we're just going to put a dash of water into there, just to finish the spinach off to help it steam. Okay, so our duck's off. And again, our spinach onto the tray. And last but not least, the asparagus, which we're just going to trim on the angle. In there with the asparagus, just a dash of water. Going to kind of deglaze that pan. These have been pre-blanched, literally, into some hot salted water and then shocked into an ice bath, okay? And our asparagus is now ready. We have our confit duck. Again, we're just going to put a touch of salt, and now we're just going to start plating up. We've got a little mould here. Onto there, we'll put our ball. I have a puree which was made earlier. So again, this literally is just the sauce trimmings which have been blended and put it into a bag. Our mushrooms, and then our asparagus. So we're going to get our duck. So our duck breasts are just going to go on. Then we're going to get our sauce and use our blender. We just want to lightly foam the sauce now. One last bit of jus, and then we're just going to finish with a few pea shoots and some olive oil vinaigrette. And that's the breast of duck with confit leg. There you go.